Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this past week we had a bunch of news about the upcoming iPhone 14, given its price and much more, as well as we expect iOS 16 betas weekly from here on out. This is your news update for the week of August 15th, 2022. Now, the battery icon is something a lot of people have been wanting back with the percentage in the upper right with iOS 16 Beta 5. However, I wanted to ask you, as some people, of course, are upset that they don't have it if they have an iPhone XR, 11, 12 mini, or 13 mini, and also some people really don't like the design. So I thought I'd ask you, do you think Apple will be bringing this in future beta updates to all the phones? And do you like the design, or do you think they can improve upon it? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Now, Google with Android this past week showcased a new website to try and push Apple to adopt RCS messaging and make messaging the same across devices. So they came out with this website, and as you can see, as we scroll down, it says it's time for Apple to fix texting. Now, Apple currently adopts MMS and SMS, but not RCS, which is a newer standard. I personally think they should just integrate this into it. That wouldn't be a big problem, but I also think iMessage is generally better and more secure, at least currently. So I think they should integrate this, and I wondered again what you think about this. You'll see this is the chat that never ends. You don't necessarily need to be on Wi-Fi for it, or not on Wi-Fi for it, and other things. So this is something that I think would be beneficial to a lot of people, and maybe we'll see in the future, but I wanted to know what you think about that, as I know many people around the world don't use iMessage, but rather use WhatsApp and things like that. So again, let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Now, for many of you, you've known about Beta Profiles and IPSW.dev. Those two websites were shut down this past week in fears that Apple would actually prosecute them in a lawsuit. So that's something that actually they said on Twitter, and they're both shut down at this point. Now, there are a few others probably that still remain, but at this point it looks like Apple is going after people that are actually posting their beta profiles, which is something that should be on the developer website only, according to Apple. And then, of course, the beta profile is free to everyone who signs up at beta.apple.com. So this is something that's a bit controversial, but I think a lot of people that are in the developer beta appreciate, as it's something that is sort of limited to developers, and Apple is very strict on that policy. So again, let me know what you think of that. Now, if we go into YouTube, I talked a while ago about Apple trying a new zoom feature in certain videos. If you have the YouTube Premium subscription, you can actually enable this. It wasn't enabled for me initially, so I wanted to show you how to do that. So if we go into YouTube and then we go to our settings, under settings, give it a moment here, you'll see that we have try new features. Under try new features, you'll see there's one available, pinch to zoom, and you can turn that on or off. So you'll have the option to try that out. You can just pinch to zoom in a video, and you can turn it off if you don't like it and provide feedback. So that's something available to premium subscribers, and I'm not sure if it's everywhere around the world, but it is in the United States. So I've tried it. I haven't really used it a whole lot, but it's nice that it's actually there. Apparently, it's going away September 1st. Now, Apple's 5-watt charger is apparently out of stock in many places around the world. This makes sense as they've transitioned over to a more fast-charging style brick with USB-C, but it looks like it's out of stock in countries such as China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. So I would expect maybe they're stopping production of these since we're switching to USB-C, or maybe they just think it's too slow now and they're not selling it anymore. Either way, you'll still be able to get them for a while, as they've been around for many years. Now, an app I use all the time that I mentioned in last week's video is 1Password, where I mentioned in the app update video, 1Password 8 has been released with all new features. This is something I use along with Keychain because it works across multiple platforms. So not only iOS, but also iPadOS, macOS, Windows, and then Android. So it works across all those platforms fairly seamlessly and allows me to fill in my password. And it has a bunch of new features with a different design, Watchtower dashboard, biometric unlock feature updates, performance updates, and much more. So I'll leave a link to them in the description. It's not a sponsored video, and you'll be able to try it for free for 14 days if you want to check it out and see if it's right for you. But I just thought I'd mention that, as it's something I use all the time. Now, according to Bloomberg, Apple is investing into original podcast content for Apple Podcasts app. This is based on an agreement with Future Studios. So Apple Podcasts, I've been trying this app out a little bit more. I've tried others in the past, but now that Apple continues to add features to their podcast app, I figured I'd try it out. And it's actually pretty good, but they may be adding original content just like Spotify. So this is something you'll see more and more of. A week or so ago, I mentioned that Apple was planning to release new colors for Beats Fit Pro. It turns out the 3 new Beats Fit Pro are in collaboration with Kim Kardashian. These will be available on August 16th, 2022, and available in 3 new colors that are more of a muted or skin tone color. So as you can see here, we have Moon, then we have Dune, and then Earth. So we'll have 3 different colors. They're available, like I said, on August 16th for $199. So no price increase here. You can see those at apple.com/Kim, and I'll link those in the description below. In this weekend's Power On newsletter from Mark Gurman of Bloomberg, he said that Apple is looking to aggressively expand its ad business by personalizing ads within the apps. Now, apparently internally they've done this a little bit inside of the Maps app to try it out, and apparently in the future it could expand quite a bit. So if this is indeed true, it seems to be something that many go to Apple to avoid. So knowing Apple, I would hope they would be transparent about it, where you have some of those options for privacy and security to disable ad tracking and more, where you have Apple advertising. We can turn that off, as I do, or you can leave it on if you prefer that, but that could be more and more implemented across the OS. Hopefully they're upfront if this is true, but either way, we'll have to wait and see if they actually implement. Yesterday, Apple released iOS 16 Beta 6 to developers and iOS 16 Public Beta 4 to beta testers. They're the exact same thing, and they're available now, but that means, based off the recent releases, we should have a weekly release of iOS 16 until the final release to the public. So next Monday, Beta 7, the week after that, maybe Beta 8, and a release candidate or a final version probably in mid-September, releasing to everyone. So that's typically what Apple does every year. So maybe Beta 7, Monday or Tuesday, and that's typically what we'll see with this update. Now, of course, we're waiting for iOS 15.7. That will be the last version, most likely, of iOS 15. We may see that, we may not, but typically Apple will release one more update with a bunch of final bug fixes, security updates, and more. And last year, they released iOS 14.8 in early September, so we could see that. Of course, once we find out the release date of iOS 16, iOS 15 will be done, and we should hear about iOS 16 very soon with the Apple event. Apple is expected to announce an Apple event for the 6th if it's going to be early, or the 13th if it's going to be on the regular time schedule. Last year it was on the 14th. This year some people are saying it will be on the 6th. If it's announced on the 6th, we should expect updates very soon as maybe later this week or early next week. If it's going to be on the 13th, it may be a week or so, but either way, we should have the iPhone 14 event to go along with the watch as well. And on that date, it seems to make sense that Apple, at least to me, might push it to the 13th, as they're requiring employees to return to the office at least 3 days a week on September 5th. Now, I don't know if they'd push that out the day before they're expecting an event, although they could do that quickly, or they could give people a week or so before the event on the 13th. Either way, we can expect it one of those 2 weeks if Apple does what they've done every year. And current demand for the upcoming iPhone 14 is expected to be quite high. Many suppliers were apparently uncertain of demand, but given Apple's track record, it would seem that iPhone 14 will be in bigger demand, as many have been asking me personally if they should upgrade this year, much more than usual. So not only is Apple seeing more increased interest in demand, but also it looks like people just in general may want to upgrade from iPhone 11 or 12 or whatever they're using. According to Bloomberg, Apple has told suppliers to make 90 million iPhones again this year, which means Apple is expecting the same demand or more than iPhone 13. Now, initial reports were that the upcoming iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max could start with 256 gigabytes of storage this year instead of 128. That's something I think many of us would welcome. However, later analyst Jeff Poo has pointed out that 128 will still be on offer, or an option. So apparently the 256 option wouldn't be the starting point. However, with features such as ProRes and more that we already have on the 13 Pro and Pro Max, I think it makes much more sense to actually have it start at 256, but it doesn't seem to be that way. Also, we're expecting a price bump with the Pro models. So the regular models, the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, which will be a larger sized model replacing the iPhone 14 mini since they're not making that this year, basically will have the same prices as last year. However, with the Pro and Pro Max, we're expecting a $100 price bump in the starting price. So up from $999 to $1,099. And then for the Max size, it would be $1,199. So the regular iPhone 14s would be normal, and then a $100 increase for the Pros. Now we're expecting an Apple Watch Series 8 this year, but not with major feature updates, mainly to the sensor itself. The overall casing should be very similar, but apparently we're going to see maybe a temperature sensor upgrade, where we would have a highly accurate temperature sensor based on a recent patent Apple has won. So that makes sense. Of course, we're waiting for more revolutionary sensors. And then also we should see an Apple Watch Series 8 Pro this year, which would be a different casing, maybe a flatter display, and some new features as well to go along with that, where it would be a little bit more rugged. But it should be only a few weeks away. Now we're also expecting AirPods Pro 2. This could be at the September event or maybe a later October event, but we're expecting them this fall, and there will be a longer battery life according to many of the rumors and leaks, an upgraded wireless chip possibly called H2, and the charging case could have a speaker in it to let you locate it if maybe you lost the case or the AirPods. So we could have that, as well as fitness tracking features built into the AirPods themselves. However, some reports said that we would have USB-C, but recent reports suggest they'll keep the Lightning connector until next year when they have to comply with those standards, according to Ming-Chi Kuo. So that's something, hopefully we see these switch to USB-C if they're switching everything, and then we'll just have one connector for everything. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Recently, a new iPad has entered production, the 10th generation iPad, which is said to look more like the iPad Air. So it would have a more squared off design, a 10.5-inch display, and have a similar frame or chassis to this as well. So you might have less features, but you would have a very similar lineup across everything from iPad to iPad Air to iPad Pro. However, if the regular iPad looks the same as the Air, I'm not sure the Air makes much sense anymore, as it would have some nicer features such as a better screen, but maybe there'll be something different we're not expecting. Also, we're expecting an update to the iPads Pro, where they're expecting an updated chipset inside, and then maybe some different pogo pin connectors. Some people are saying we'll have 4 instead of 3, like we have on the Air and the current Pros, and then additional connectors on the side. We've seen some patents for this in the past, so we could see some different connectors, and maybe something to go along with macOS Ventura, where we'll have some features that go inside with that. Maybe we'll see those, maybe we won't, but again, macOS Ventura is expected to launch later on, so they could be waiting to show us some new features. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, just wanted to let you know that there are some deals still going on for AirPods Pro where they're fairly inexpensive compared to what Apple offers them for in the Apple Store. And I probably, though, would wait for AirPods Pro 2. There's also a pretty good deal on MacBook Pro M1 where it's $300 off on Amazon and B&H Photo, specifically the M1 Pro with 1 terabyte of storage. So I'll link that. Those are affiliate links. I will get a little bit of commission for that. But if you don't want to use those, just search for those products on Amazon. There's some other deals as well I'll link in the description. And of course, if there's anything else you'd love to see in these weekly videos, let me know in the comments below. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.